Which one's live? This is not live.
I can't really tell if it's live or not right now. Live plus record, let's see. 5 minutes early. Let's see if this is actually live.
I thought you were gonna use the restroom.
I am. I just gotta make sure this is actually live.
Do you want me to check on YouTube?
Yeah, can you check on YouTube?
It's just Marcus, right? It's like Clarence.
Clarence Lee Jr.
Why isn't it Clarence Marcus?
Stat subscriber.
Subscribe. This is cool. Wait, it doesn't say that. Oh, you are live. You're live right now.
I'm live?
Yeah, you are.
You can see
Persist
it?
Institute,
Yeah, you can see it?
live monthly training.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see it. Wait, no, I can't see you. It says live in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes?
Yeah, because it knows you go live at 4:30, so you have 3 minutes to go to the restroom.
No, it should be live right now. Let me see.
Clarence Lee Jr. Have you gotten like a lot? Dad, you have like fans.
Oh, it says live right now.
You're live. You have fans.
Oh yeah, I'm on. Alright, perfect.
You have fans. Someone on YouTube said, I met Dr. Clarence Lee Jr. at my school. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
Alright. Oh, please.
I'm sorry.
Back up, please.
I'm sorry.
Alright, it's a little bit of a delay, but yeah, we're on. Okay, good. Now I just need to copy this.
Perfect.
Copy, new Kajabi.
Yeah, you're live, but I can't see you.
I think there's like a 20.
It says live in 1 minute and 12 seconds.
That's a lot.
Have I ever just gone viral?
PDX.
52. Waiting for Clarence Lee Jr.
It won't let you go to.
It just says this.
It won't. It doesn't look. You can't see any other live segments.
No.
All right.
Wait, you can see yourself on here live? I can't see.
Yeah, I'm.
I can't see you. Oh, now you're live. Now you're live.
It's on.
Yeah, you're live like right now.
Okay, good.
Oh my gosh, you're live.
Alright.
No, like you're live. Like I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I want. We got 1 minute.
Yeah, and you still haven't used the restroom.
I'm gonna go right now.
I like shook it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's see who's in the chat roll on here. Who's on?
2 people.
All right, perfect. Let me do my audio, and then we're gonna get rolling, my people.
On camera roll.
Okay. There you go.
Do I start your GoPro now?
Sure.
It's not starting. It's not turning on.
Okay.
Your GoPro isn't turning on.
Right, let's mic check.
Mic check.
All right, let's try. Let me turn this up and see if everybody can hear me. All right.
Your GoPro isn't on.
It's quite a bit of a delay.
Yeah, your GoPro isn't working. Oh, it's on now. Got it. Can I hold it, please?
And I just need to check the audio.
I can make you a great montage video. You know that? Like.
Okay. All right, we got one on. All right, so how is the perfect. Yeah, we're on. Okay.
Oh, that's you.
Turn it down. All righty. What is going on? Persist Institute Live. I am excited to be on. Dr. Lee here, and I am pumped for everybody that is on today. And we have got a lot of material to get through, so I'm going to jump right into it. If you were receiving my my emails, you know that today we're going to be talking about how to eliminate financial sabotage in our lives. And so I want to put a little bit of context to what I'm talking about today, so that we are all on the same page about why this matters. Okay, so like the first thing I was thinking when I talked about this is, Persist Institute is all about helping people go after their vision, get exactly what they want in their life, and give you the tools that are needed to help you persist, because I believe that persistence is probably the most important quality when it comes to getting what you want in life. If you have the ability to continue to push no matter what obstacles come your way, right? If you have the psychology that allows you to continue to go after what you want, I think that's the main thing that differentiates people that get what they want in life and people that don't, okay? And so everybody knows what's going on, Jacqueline. Everybody knows my story, about my persistence into getting accepted into medical school, how, I had to apply and apply and apply and apply. And, after applying 500 times and 5 years go by, I get the opportunity to study medicine. And I think I know the only reason why I got that opportunity is because I always kept my vision, I always believed, and I just knew it was only a matter of time for me, okay? So persistence is radically important, okay? So if you're in Persist Institute, you understand what I'm all about, all right? And so as I started to think about, as I developed the curriculum for Persist Institute for this first year, I wanted to really give you guys the tools of what it took, okay? So, we've talked about things about mindset. We've talked about things about goal setting. We've talked about time management. We talked about so many things, but the one thing that we haven't talked about is kind of finance, right? So when everybody talks about their vision, they usually will have some sort of financial image or financial picture that kind of goes with that. So what does that mean? That means like you say to yourself, oh, I'm a success if X, Y, Z, or if I have this sort of lifestyle, right? And usually what comes with that lifestyle is some sort of financial position. Either that be, oh, I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make $500,000 a year. Maybe I want to make $250,000 a year. There's always some sort of income level, or some people may say, I want to be worth this much, or some people may say, I want to live in a house that costs this much, or some people may say, I want to live in a certain part of the country and the cost of living is XYZ. So there's always some sort of financial thing that is attached to your goal. And so as a teacher of motivation, as a teacher of persistence and resilience, and about living your dream, I've always had this hesitancy to kind of talk about money, but money is a critical piece of it. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys got the connection, why I'm talking about how to stop financial sabotage, and why it is so important that you figure out finance as you start to move towards your goal. Because here is the mistake I feel a lot of people make when it comes to this. A lot of people say, oh, when I build my company to this much money, then I'll start figuring out what I'm going to do with my cash. Or when I start making this much, then I'm going to figure out how much I'm going to give. Or when I start doing this, then I'll get a financial planner. Or when I start doing this, then I'll be able. So it's always this: wait until I've got the income at a certain level, then I'm going to do the things that I know in my mind I should do. And so what ends up happening is you go through life. Your mindset about finance stays the same. Your habits around finance stays the same, and it's always this next thing that you're waiting for, right? There's a potential that there's this next thing that you're waiting for. So as Persist Institute members, I want to give you guys the curriculum or understanding of what you need to do to master your finances now, so that you're not waiting until you get this dream life and you get this dream income, and then you try to figure out how to manage it at that point. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with connecting money psychology and your dream. Okay, so today, what I want to get accomplished today is I want to teach you some of the hang-ups, some of the things, some of the pitfalls to avoid, and then I want to teach you some of the mindset shifts that I want you to make now as you are building your business. So a lot of people in Persist Institute have businesses that they're either running or that they plan to launch. A lot of people have career moves that they're trying to get to. A lot of people have promotions that they're trying to go after. A lot of people have savings goals that they want to do. A lot of people have money attached to some part of their goal. There's some sort of financial thing attached to part of their goal. So my intent with today's content is to help you understand or give you some ahas about money, finances, and management. Okay, so that is the intent. So just so everybody that's on, does it make sense why this is important, why this content is important, why this information is important when it comes to persisting toward your goal? Does that make sense to everyone? Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to get over into the chat. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page about why this is critical. Okay, all right, so here's what I want to begin with understanding how to avoid financial sabotage. I'm going to start with some foundational thoughts. Now, we all dream big in Persist Institute. We all got big vision, something that we want to do. And if I'm wrong, correct me in the chat, but I presume that most people want to pursue financial independence in their life. So what does financial independence mean? Financial independence means that I don't have to work to live, right? So I have gained up enough wealth so then I don't have to work. Right? It's the idea that the working then becomes an option. I can live off of the money that I have. So that will be the idea of financial independence. So if I'm wrong, if that's not a goal for you, then okay, great. Maybe this might not be for you. But here's some of the foundational thoughts. One is that you want financial independence. One is that with that financial independence, there's going to come some sort of lifestyle change for you. There's some sort of lifestyle change that you want to come with that financial independence, okay? And so for you, I want you to take a second to start to think about that vision for you, and what does that financial picture look like for you? So what does that lifestyle look like? What does my lifestyle look like in that vision? Okay, how do I feel about my finances, right? What sort of position am I waking up to? Where am I waking up in? So I want you to capture the big vision, where you want to go, and the complete lifestyle that you want to live. Now, as you see that vision, right? As you see that vision of where you're waking up, or what part of the country that you're in, or are you in a high rise? Are you on the beach? Or are you in a vineyard or something? As you see that vision, I want you to then start to consider the costs that are going to be associated with that vision, right? So if you say you want to live in a mansion, okay, fine. How much is that mansion going to cost? What are you going to own that right out, and how much did you pay to get that mansion? Or say whatever apartment that you're in, or say you're in a high rise and in New York, whatever that vision is for you, I want you to start to consider what are the financial implications of that. Okay, so what's the vision? And the last piece, the grounding, the last foundational thought is I want us to think about the difference between earning, right, and investing. Okay, now I want you to just think about that, because we're going to dive into that a lot later on in today's training. But those are kind of the foundations, right? I got this vision. It's got a financial component to it. I'm going after financial independence. Financial independence. Now that doesn't just happen with one big payday. Okay, financial independence is not going to happen with one big payday. It's going to happen with slow, methodical activity over time. Okay, so here we go. Let's drive into the content. So I want you guys to drop, if anything is confusing about what I'm talking about, there's no connecting the dots, I want you to drop questions in, because we're about to jump into the content right now. Okay, so, and here is the main reason why I wanted to train today. And here is the thought. I have come across lots of people in my life that have been working for years upon years, sometimes 20 years, sometimes 30 years, sometimes 40 years, and they don't have anything to show for it. Maybe they don't own a home. They don't have any assets. They have operated for 20 to 30 years at maximum capacity in a budgeting standpoint, and they have spent every single dime that they have made year after year after year after year. So my question to you is, do you believe, if you've worked for 10 years, do you believe you should have something to show for that 10 years of working? And if you believe you should have something to show for that 10 years of working, then how about if you worked last week, do you have something to show for the work that you did last week? So what about the money you made last week? Do you believe you should have something to show for the money that you worked for last week, or the money that you earned last week? Is that a concept that you believe in, right? So it makes a little more sense when you talk about years of working. So when I say somebody's been working 30, 40 years and you don't have anything to show for it, that's when you say to yourself, okay, that's a tragedy for somebody in their life. That's a tragedy. Because if you've worked 30 years, you've made 30 years worth of money. I don't care if you're making $50,000 a year. Right? If you've done that for 30 years, right, you've had a substantial amount of cash come through your hand. Right? And so what I'm going to teach you today, what I'm going to be talking about today, is how do you keep some of that in your hand? How do you keep some of that? Okay? So what are you working for? Do you have something to show for it? Okay? And so another piece is, another concept is things versus money. Things versus money. So when I talk about having something to show for it, I'm not talking about things. So I'm not talking about your shoe collection. I'm not talking about your clothes collection. I'm not talking about your appliances in your home. I'm not talking about things. So things versus money. I'm talking about money when I say, do you have something to show for it? What is the balance in the account? Do you have dollars to show for the work that you have done, right? So I'm talking about money versus things, not things. Now, some things can be assets, so some things can work in your favor, right? But I'm talking about money because I want that dollars and cents. And we're going to talk about how that dollar is going to work a lot harder for you than things, okay? So, and the next foundational thought is having versus making. Okay, so I'm breaking down some really basics for you because what I'm talking about is having money. So a lot of people when they discuss finance, they want to know how much you make. They want to know how much you make. And I think understanding how much a person makes is important, but the more significant measurement is having. So how much do you have? It's not about how much you make. It's really about how much you can keep out of what you make. So the lifestyle that you have put together, how much have you allowed for you to keep when it comes to the money that you make? So I'm really talking about having money versus making money. Okay. So, and how do you get to that? And it's not rocket science, but it's going to boil down to savings being a priority. And so we're going to talk about how do you save? How do you set up a lifestyle where you're able to save a significant amount of the cash? Because listen, if you get these foundations now, as you build your business, as you build your lifestyle, if you get these principles in place, you will already have savings as a priority. So a lot of money doesn't come in, and a lot of money doesn't come in, and then all of it go out. Right? So you want to have these things as priorities for you as a foundation as you start to build that lifestyle that you want for yourself. So let me know if this is making sense. Please hop in the chat if you need. Okay, so we got our foundational thoughts there. I've talked about having something to show. So I'm really kind of building an argument for why what I'm going to teach today is really important. So I'm building the argument about why we've got to figure out how to get finances together as we start to build the vision that we want for our lives. And here is the key. The key is that sort of control or mastery is available right now. You can start to implement these things right now. Okay, so now the next thing I want to talk about is budgeting versus a spending plan versus a savings plan. Okay, so here's the other question I want you to ask yourself with this part. Do you work so that you can spend, or do you work so that you can have? So these are foundational thoughts, all right? So I want you to think about how you view the money that you get in your hand. Do you get the money so that you can spend it, or do you get the money so that you can have it? Two very, very different concepts. So if I'm making the money so that I can spend, I'm going to make, and then if my mindset is that I'm making money so that I can spend, then as soon as I get the money, I'm going to spend it because that's why I made it. Right? But if I have the foundational thought that I make money so that I can have money, then the priority will be a savings plan. So listen, you got a budget. A lot of people don't like the term budget. Then you got a spending plan. A lot of people like that because that tells me how I'm going to get to spend. Then you got the savings plan. So if you're talking about building long-term wealth, I'm talking about making the savings plan be the reason why you work. Let the savings plan be the reason why you have the business. Let the savings plan be the reason why you want to have or want to accumulate or earn wealth, right? The savings plan is the priority. Next is the spending plan. Okay. Now, your living expense ratio. Now let's break down to some really concrete ideas. Your living expense ratio. So as you look at the money that you have coming in, and this is the same in business, this is the same in your personal budget, this is the same across your life. You look at how much money you have coming in and you ask yourself, how much money do I have going out? What percentage of that money is already earmarked with expenses before I make it? So if I'm looking at, how much money does it cost you to live? If it costs you $5,000 to live a month, how much money do you make? Do you make 10,000? Do you make 6,000? Do you make 5,500 but live off of 5,000? Okay, so how much room is in your budget, right? How much percentage of your budget are you spending each month? How much of your income are you spending every single month, right? Because how you spend a month is how you're going to spend your life. Your budgetary actions in a month adds up to a year. Those years adds up into decades. Those decades turn into life. So if you can get your expense ratio down, right? If you can start to live, and a lot of people call it living beneath your means. So a lot of people don't like those terms, but if you get to a point where you say, I will not create a lifestyle that is going to require me to spend 50%, more than 50% of what I make. Okay, so these are numbers that that I am encouraging you to strive for in your life. So I would say if you're going to set this up, then you want to position yourself for a lifestyle where it only takes 50% what I make to live, right? 50%. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, why would I be working so much if I only need half of that? Well, maybe I only would have to work half the time. No. That's not the point. The point is that I want to be able to live comfortably, and then I've got 50% now to work with, right? I only need 50 to live. Now I got the other 50%, right? To now we're going to talk about investing and what you do with that 50%. But this is the expense ratio, that what you want to do. So this changes. So this concept now changes the word afford. So when people talk about what can I afford, what can I really afford? Well, this is how I'm going to encourage you to look at it. If you are setting up expenses in your day-to-day that is requiring you to spend more than 50% of what you make, then I would say you cannot afford that. Okay? Now, growing more is, earning more is always something that's going to be a possibility for you. Earning more is always going to be coming. You're always going to earn more. But that spending ratio, right, is if it stays at the 50%, then we are putting ourselves in a position where that we can gain growth. And why does this matter for your dream? Why does this matter for your dream? Because you do not want to self-sabotage your dream. So as you push towards your vision, all the work that you're doing, all the hard work that you're putting in, all the nights where you're missing sleep, all the hours you're putting in at work, you should have something to show for that. You should have an amount for that. Every single month that you work, you should have something that shows for that month. Every single year that you work, you should have some dollars in the bank that you made. You should still have dollars that you made from last year. Right? You should have dollars that you made from last year. You should have dollars that you made from 10 years ago. You should still have $1. Listen, okay? Do you have $1 from 1997? Do you have $1 do you still have $1 that you made in 1997? Just one. Right? So it seems really simple, but a lot of people don't practice this. And I break it down from a very basic standpoint because I want you to understand this is really important. This is really, really important for your vision. It is really, really important for your dream. So what you're going after for Persist Institute, you have to be able to manage the resources that come to you. Because listen, I believe in, you reap what you sow. I believe in to whom much is given, much is required. I believe those things. I believe that the person that is diligent with a small amount is going to be able to give more, so they'll be diligent with larger amounts. Like, I believe that. So what I'm teaching today is how do you become diligent with the amount that you have, whether it be small, whether it be large. How do you manage that you have so that when more comes to you, you have the skills to manage more? Because we all want more. Right? We all want more. We're all praying for more. We're all pressing for more. Our vision is to get more. Okay, if we're going to get more, let's figure out how we're going to manage what we actually have. Okay, now, the next piece is a very, very touchy subject for a lot of people, and I'm not going to completely rant on this, but I'm going to share a few points. Okay, listen, debt. Okay, debt. Avoid it at all cost. All cost. Okay, so America has we have created a lifestyle where debt is okay. We have created, our country has a deficit, right? So even at the highest level, even at our leadership level, we have decided that it's okay to spend more than what we have. We have said that that is a way that we are supposed to live. And so I'm going to push back on that, okay? I'm going to push back on that because the more debt you have, the harder you have to work to service your debt, right? So the harder you have to work to service your debt, the harder you have to work that does not allow you to save. So if you can avoid debt, avoid it at all costs. If you have debt, get crazy aggressive in paying it off. Stupid aggressive. And get rid of it as fast as you can. Just imagine what your expenses would be like if you were not paying off debt each month. Now, if you don't have any debt, power to you. Right? So now we can work on the expense ratio to get you where you can save more. Power to you if you don't have debt. But if you do have debt, what is the plan to pay off the debt? And imagine what your lifestyle would be like if you were not servicing debt every month with the money that you make. Now, I got a couple more points on this, then we're going to keep it moving. So here are some of the things people say are good debt. Okay, mortgages, car loans, and credit cards. A lot of people got mortgages, a lot of people got car loans, a lot of people got credit cards. Okay, now I'm gonna break down some real basics when it comes to mortgages and car notes. Listen to me. Some people, and a lot of people celebrate when they get accepted for the mortgage loan. So you celebrate it when you get the money, somebody gives you the money. Now, first basic thought, you want to buy a house you don't have cash to pay for. Okay, we have accepted that we cannot save enough in our life so that we can pay for the house that we want. We have just accepted that that's not going to be an option for us, right? So that's why there's a whole financial industry that is going to take advantage of that, right? So we say the American dream is we want to own a house, but we have not figured out a mindset that says I'm going to buy a house that I can pay cash for. That is impossible for most people. That in the mindset, we believe that is impossible, right? So we say we have to go and get a mortgage for a house. We have to do that, right? There's no way. How am I going to be able to afford a house? Cost of living is so much. How am I going to be able to pay for a house cash? How am I going to be able to do that? Let me tell you, some people do it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be able to pay cash for your house, but what I'm saying is a mortgage. A lot of people celebrate mortgages. You get, you get the loan for the house and you celebrate. Well, the mortgage people are celebrating too. Because they're going to give you 30 years to pay it back, and how much you pay back for the house is probably sometimes 2 to 3 times as much as the house costs. So you might buy a house for $100,000, but when you get the mortgage, you're going to end up paying $300,000 for the house, and we celebrate that. We celebrate. So we're going to give the bank $200,000 more just so we can have the house now. Right? So I'm breaking it down to how I see these things, okay, and how I view it. Same thing with the car notes. Same exact thing, right? So debt, the more of your spending ratio that's going to servicing debt, that's not going to allow you to save and invest, okay? So now, do you celebrate if you get the loan to buy the car or buy the house? Is that really a blessing for you? It is if you are okay with paying 2 to 3 times as much, right? If you're okay with paying 2 to 3 times as much, dance and do the happy dance when you sign the paperwork that says I'm gonna give you 3 times what this thing is worth right now. All right, so think about debt. All right, so now I've gave you some foundational thoughts. We've talked about budgeting, we've talked about spending, savings, and we talked about debt. Okay, now I've got to that 50%. We've talked about the 50%, right? Now what do you do with the other 50%? So if you get your spending ratio down to 50%, what do you do with the other 50%? Here's what I say. 10% you want to save. Save. Put that in a bank account. Right, so you sitting it there. You got that cash. 10% you want to invest. Okay, so I'm not going to get too deep into investing, but listen, index funds, one of the best things you can get. Put yourself in the market, invest. Now, this is not some gambling that you do. This is not some fairy tale that happens. This is one of the most consistent ways to build wealth that has been shown over time. Okay, the market always goes up. It has continued to go up. Now we're going to have some down times every now and then, but overall that thing's going to go up, right? Consistently. Go back and look. Up, right? And this is one of the primary ways that wealth is built in the world, is through investing. So if you are not investing, then that shows that your understanding of wealth creation is not quite there. You have to invest. 10% save, 10% invest. I would say 10% give, okay? Give away 10%. So I believe you reap what you sow. If you are generous with your money, more will come to you. If you hoard on to your money, you're worried about how you're going to lose your money. You don't think you got enough. You can't give it to this person. I got enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. Your mindset is always, I don't have enough. If your mindset is of generosity, of abundance, of I'm going to give, then you open up room for more to come to you. So 10% give. And then the last two parts, 10% is fun money. 10% is just fun. Just fun. Go have some fun, whatever you want to do. Go eat, buy yourself something, get you a bag, whatever you want. 10%, no guilt, just blow it, whatever you want, right? And then that last 10% I would say use on educational experiences. So I like to travel. I invest in myself. So just if you're a part of Persist Institute, this is an investment. So this would be a part of the educational 10% budget. This would be you getting education for yourself, you investing in yourself. Right? So 10% save, 10% invest, 10% give, 10% education, 10% fun money. Now the education and fun money can kind of go together because you can have a fun experience, right? You can go to some part of the world where you get cultured, you get education, and you're having fun. Okay, so that gives you almost 20% to do fun and education. All right, now the more that you allow yourself to save, the more you're going to be able to dump into the investment piece, right? So the more money you're able to invest, that grows over time. Right? So so listen, this is how you have money. Okay, this is how you have. This is very, very different than making. A lot of people focus on the making piece. I'm teaching you how to have. How do you have money? If you put these principles in place, this will guarantee that you always will have, right? Now you have just to have. So a lot of people say, oh, you're saving your money. Well, what you saving for? Listen, I'm saving so that I can have. That's what I'm saving for. I'm not saving to buy something. I'm not saving to spend it. I'm saving to have it. Okay, so you want to look at having money. Okay, so a few things on the advantages of investing and earning. Okay, so listen, if you invest, the gains that you gain, so the money that you make through investing, it gets taxed at a lower level than the money that you make from earning. Okay, so earning is like, I go hit the clock, I work for an employer, that check comes to me, I earn that check. Uncle Sam's going to get his money before you even get yours. He already getting paid before you get yours. So you're paying your taxes before you even get your money, right? So capital gains, it works a little different. You make the capital gains, you pay at a lower tax rate. Okay, so Uncle Sam only gets a smaller amount. So the more money that I'm making from my investments, right, the lower taxes I'm paying out every single year. The more money that I make earning, I'm going to be moving up in tax brackets every single time I earn more and more and more, right? And depending on what your state, if your state has income tax, some people are in earning levels where they're paying over 50% in taxes, right? They might be paying 38 to Uncle Sam, and they might be paying 10 or 13 to their state percent. So you're looking at 51, 55% going out just in taxes alone if you're focused on earning. But the more bang for your buck you have in investing, the lower taxes that you got going out. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. If you got any questions, please drop them in as we go. So I always want to connect these two back, right? I always want to connect these two back. And here's the other piece. I talk about living your destiny. So I talk about making an impact, serving your purpose, creating a destiny for yourself. That destiny piece has a legacy piece to it. So if you're not thinking legacy, so for me, I think legacy. Like I have 5 children, I have a wife. Listen, I'm thinking, how do I set up something so that my kids can have? How do I set up something so that I have a legacy that's coming behind me? If I spend it all and I don't leave anything for my kids, what does that really mean? Right? So if you have not figured out how to save, if you have not figured out this, how are you going to build a legacy for your family? How are you going to build a legacy for the next generation that's coming behind you? Now, you have worked so hard to get to this level. You have worked so hard to earn more. You have worked so hard to be successful. And if you do not figure this out, you leave the next generation behind you in the same position you were. They have to work just as hard as you. Now, to me, that doesn't make any sense. So some people come from families where they say, oh, you 18, you get on your own, okay? You take care of your own business. Some people come from families like that, right? Some people get that language as they grow up. For me, no. Look, I'm about up and up and up. Every generation should have it easier and easier, okay? We should be moving up in quality every single generation. So I didn't really come from a lot, okay? So I'm thinking about up and up and up every single generation. So if you have a legacy as a part of something that you see in your vision, you have to figure out how to live on less than what you make. And that's what I'm talking about. Save more, invest more. Okay.